Today's topic is about mice. Tiny, quick, and somehow everywhere. Most of us think of them as pests or maybe as lab animals, but a lot of people actually keep them as pets. Yeah, real tiny adorable pet mice. It's not super common, but there is a whole community out there, people who build these transparent cages just for them. Little tunnels, caves, bits of wood and soil, the tiny house, the water bottle, the food bowl like a miniature version of the wild. And honestly, there is something so calming about it. Watching a creature that small just live its day. I am an animal lover. I have a cat, a beautiful Russian blue. All cats, even the calm ones, are born hunters. They crouch low, eyes wide and round, their pupils locked onto something, their body starts to tremble just a little, muscles tightening under that soft fur, and that moment right before they move is the scariest one because you can feel it, that silence, that perfect stillness before the instant takes over. They are about to race after their target, fast, precise, and absolutely silent. But mine, she's never seen a mouse or a rat. She's an indoor cat, perfectly content with soft rugs, filtered water, and long naps by the window. I'm pretty sure she's never seen a cockroach or even an ant. Her world is spotless, peaceful, almost too clean for her instincts. Sometimes I wonder if she even knows she's a hunter, but I don't really like mice or rats. I mean, who would? They are small, fast, and kind of unsettling when they move. And they've always been the animal, the one people blame for disease, for plagues, for all the bad things that crawl in the dark. Every time, especially when one of those big rats shows up on the street, I can almost hear the girl screaming in my head. It's the mix of fear and disgust that just happens instantly. There is something about seeing one that makes your body react. Before your brain even catches up, I used to feel the same way about mice, except for the ones in Disney movies. Tom and Jerry? Jerry's cute, yeah, but that's about it. Outside of cartoons, the real ones never looked that charming. They're faster, twitchier, and way less photogenic. It's funny how animation can turn something we'd normally run from into something we just love. When I was a kid, I once found a dead rat outside, and for some reason I thought it'd be hilarious to pick it up by the tail and show it to my mom. She absolutely freaked out, like full panic mode. She screamed, "Put it down right now, you're gonna get in trouble." So yeah, after being yelled at for holding a dead rat by the tail, I never really thought about keeping one as a pet. Anyway, today we're talking about mice, rats, and hamsters. Let's talk about the difference between the three, because honestly, a lot of people get them mixed up. Rats are bigger, with long, hairless tails and narrow faces. They love living in groups, they are smart, and they actually need social interaction to stay healthy. They can recognize their owners and even learn simple tricks, like we are talking about mini dog level intelligence here. Hamsters, on the other hand, are smaller and rounder with short, furry tails. Hamsters are different. They like to live alone and they spend most of their days sleeping. They also have those cute little cheek pouches. They stuff food in there to save it for later, which is both adorable and incredibly practical. And mice, they are somewhere between, smaller than rats, more social than hamsters. They are curious, quick, and always exploring, They love to climb, squeeze into tiny spaces, and investigate everything around them. They clean themselves constantly, build nests out of anything soft, and can actually form little friendships if kept in groups. They are kind of the balance between the two, part explorer, part homebody, and surprisingly very clean. I actually thought hamsters were man-made. They are just too cute to be real. Like, how can something that round and fluffy even exist in nature? They look kind of dumb and slow, right? But nope, they are totally natural. They originally came from dry, dusty places like Syria and parts of northern China. I mean, it makes sense. I feel like so many animals come from China, and maybe just because it's huge, it has literally every type of climate. But Syria, that one surprised me. It's mostly dry, full of deserts, and something called steppe grasslands. These wide open fields covered with grass and almost no trees, hot during the day, cold at night, and the kind of place where the horizon just keeps going forever. Steppe grasslands are like nature's minimalist design, just grass, wind, and endless sky, harsh but honest. And that's where hamsters come from, a place where survival depends on being small, clever, and quiet. The ones we keep as pets now, they are basically the grandkids of the wild hamsters scientists discovered in the 1930s. So yeah, they are real, just suspiciously adorable. Here's what most people don't know. Wild hamsters are nothing like the ones in pet stores. They're tough, like desert tough. They live in super hot places during the day and freezing cold ones at night, places like Syria, Russia, and northern China. They dig tunnels underground, hide there to stay cool, and store food like tiny survivalists. They've got this whole secret underground world going on. The hamsters we see now, they are kind of the lazy version. They don't have to fight for food or dig for miles. They just run on their little wheels and get fed. Over time, they became calmer, rounder, and honestly just cuter. While hamsters are fierce and independent, pet hamsters, they are soft, spoiled, and living their best indoor life. And because of the difference, their lives are totally different in length too. Wild hamsters usually live about 1 to 1.5 years because life out there is tough. Predators, heat, cold, hunger. But pet hamsters in a cozy cage with steady food and no danger can live around 2 to 3 years. So yeah, being lazy kind of works out for them. So when we talk about rats, mice, and hamsters, here's the science behind the cuteness and how they are actually different, especially as pets. Rats and mice both belong to the same big family called Miridae, but millions of years ago, they split into different branches. Rats belong to the Rattus genus, while mice belong to Mews. Hamsters are completely separate. They come from the Chryseridae family, so scientifically hamsters aren't close relatives of rats or mice at all. They are more like distant cousins who took a completely different evolutionary path. Rats evolved to be adaptable survivals. They are smart, social, and capable of forming emotional bonds. Scientists even study them for empathy and problem solving. As pets, they recognize their owners, learn tricks, and actually love attention. You could almost say rats are like little dogs in rodent form. If a dog shrank down, grew whiskers, and learned to climb walls, you'd have a rat. Mice, on the other hand, are smaller, quicker, and more anxious. They live fast, reproduce quickly, explore constantly, and their brains are wired for alertness, not attachment. They are fascinating for genetic research, but not exactly interactive pets. They are too delicate, too shy, more observers of life than participants. And hamsters, they are the introverts of the group. They evolve in dry deserts, places where silence is survival. That's why they store food in their cheeks and live alone underground. They are adorable, yes, but they are also solitary by nature. If rats crave friendship, hamsters crave peace and quiet. So, scientifically, rats are the intelligent and social ones. Mice are fast and cautious, and hamsters are the independent survivalists. Three tiny creatures, three completely different blueprints for life. Each one carrying a different story about how to exist, one through connection, one through awareness, and one through solitude. So we all know hamsters make great pets. They're cute, small, and probably low maintenance. I mean, are they really though? Why are they considered low maintenance? Let's think about it for a second. They don't need a ton of space. They are totally fine living alone, and they basically nap all day. You feed them once, clean their cage once a week, and that's pretty much it. Hamsters are the introverts of the pet world, peaceful, tidy, and kind of mysterious. But mice, I didn't even know people actually kept mice as pets. Like mice, apparently that's a real thing. Okay, quick grammar moment. The plural of mouse is mice. Not mouses, not mousies, just mice. Yeah, English loves being weird like that. Anyway, fancy mice. That's what people call the domesticated kind. Basically, house mice that have been bred for color, pattern, and a chill personality. They are gentle, social, and honestly kind of cute, but still super fast, tidy, and a little unpredictable. You cannot change their whole nature, right? So yeah, hamsters might be the classic pet choice, but mice, they are like the underrated little rebels of the pet world. Small, clever, and totally overlooked. So I was in YouTube the other night, just scrolling, and I came across this channel about keeping a panda mouse as a pet. It was tiny, black and white, and honestly ridiculously cute. The creator mentioned that they are used as lap mice sometimes, and I was like, wait, what? So I looked it up. Turns out the panda mouse isn't some strange lap hybrid or anything. It's actually a fancy mouse, basically a regular house mouse that's been selectively bred for those adorable black and white markings. So yeah, the panda part, it's just about the color pattern, not science experiments. But genetically, it's still the same species as the lap mice. They are kind of like cousins, same roots, just raised for totally different reasons. Lab mice are bred for research, control, identical, carefully studied. Pet mice or fancy mice are bred for companionship, for color, and a bit of personality. And that got me thinking, what about rats and hamsters? Are they used in experiments too? The answer is kind of fascinating. Rats and mice are basically the celebrities of science. They've been part of research for like over a century. Mice are small, cheap, and they reproduce super fast, perfect for genetics and biology studies. Rats, on the other hand, are used more in behavior and neuroscience. They are bigger, smarter, and surprisingly super social. They can solve puzzles, remember paths, and even show empathy, which honestly makes them sound more human than we think. Hamsters, though, they are a little different. They do get used in labs sometimes, but mostly for studies about metabolism, viruses, or certain diseases, but they are way less common. Basically, the whole lab system is built around mice and rats, not hamsters. And honestly, that kind of puts things into perspective. One tiny animal gets studied to understand the human brain, another gets bred to sit quietly in someone's palm. Now I'm getting kind of sad talking about this. I sort of get why people want animal test free cosmetics, but I guess I don't want no animal test medicine. I know that some things are truly unavoidable, but hopefully they still get to have some kind of happy life. I know it's controversial, but for a moment there, my empathy part just kicked in. They are all small, all soft, all rodents, but their roles in our world couldn't be more different. It's weirdly poetic and kind of chilling, right? So, about the wheel. If you've ever seen someone with a hamster or a mouse, you've definitely seen that wheel spinning all night. That famous little running wheel. And I always wonder why. Why do they need that? It's not just decoration, it's actually really important. And here's the science behind it. Hamsters and mice are naturally hyperactive animals. In the wild, they travel long distances every night, sometimes up to 5 or even 10 kilometers, just looking for food or exploring. That instinct doesn't disappear just because they live in a cage. That energy doesn't go away, it builds up. So the wheel becomes their way of running without going anywhere. It's their little substitute for freedom. For hamsters especially, running is how they release stress and how they balance their energy. Without a wheel, they can get anxious, start biting the cage, or even gain weight. Mice are the same. Tiny, curious explorers that need stimulation. The wheel gives them a sense of motion and control inside a very small world. Scientists have even found that wheels help keep their mood stable and reduce boredom. So yeah, that little wheel isn't just cute. It's their version of adventure. A small space, a big instinct, and one way to keep moving, even when there's nowhere to go. It looks pointless from the outside, but for them, it's life. A small circle that keeps them healthy, calm, and somehow happy.